And welcome in again. Another edition of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show right here on Max 98.3. I'm Rusty Nixon. Quickly, let's take a look at, got a lot to do, so we got to do this quickly. Football last night, game you heard right here on Max 98.3. LaVille's season came to an end at Pioneer as Pioneer took a 34-14 regional championship win over the Lancers. We'll talk to Jeff Kaiser here in a little bit about his game last night and talk about some of his seniors, I'm sure. And then Knox moves on to semi-state action. They took a 28-21 win over Angola last night. Girls basketball score, as that is in full swing now. And Bremen stayed unbeaten. They took a 41-24 win over John Glenn. We'll talk to Bremen head coach Alex Robinson coming up in just a few moments as well. That's all. Well, we've got a lot to do. We'll just get to it. Welcome in. Thanks for joining us. This is the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. We'll get going right after this.
Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
Absolute Plumbing, Heating, Cooling of Plymouth has become one of the leading service companies in northern Indiana. Serving Marshall, Stark, St. Joe, Fulton, LaPorte, Elkhart, and Kosciuszko County since 2014. They specialize in residential, commercial plumbing, heating, and cooling services. They also handle drain cleaning, water heater repair, commercial refrigeration, furnaces, generators, and much more. And they're the area's only York brand dealer. That's why Michiana has made Absolute Heating and Cooling their one-stop shop for service needs. Locally owned and operated with over 20 years of experience in the trade. Visit their website at absolutephc.com for complete service information. Absolute Plumbing, Heating, and Cooling, the area's top York brand dealer.
Who doesn't like pizza, right? But have you tried the pizza at Bourbon Street Pizza lately? More fresh ingredients and a new pizza sauce recipe. It's like a slice of heaven each and every time you take a bite. And now there's 16 new style of pizzas for you to choose from on the menu. And let's not forget the mouth-watering wings or their 5 different pasta dishes to choose from. Bourbon Street Pizza with area locations in Plymouth, Culver, Argus, Walkerton, Napanee, and in Bourbon. If you're looking for a quick and delicious dinner for the entire family to enjoy, look no further than a Bourbon Street Pizza location near you.
Ashley Faulkner joins us in this segment of Saturday Morning Coaches Show, talking some Triton basketball this morning. We didn't get a chance to get with you preseason, so why don't we start with your girls this year? I mean, who have you got back? Who is performing the way you want? I mean, let's start with an assessment of that.
So we have almost all of our girls back from last year. We lost 2 seniors last year. So we do bring back some experience, which is good. We have 3 seniors, Miley Groves and Sierra Holly. They're 2 of our big point guards and girls that are really providing a lot of leadership for us. We have Avery Veers, who is a senior also, and she's one of our post players. Then returning, we have another big post player in Savannah Holly. And to round out our post players, we have a sophomore, Austin Wright, who's coming to us from the JV, but has really made an immediate impact. As far as varsity returners, we also have Chloe McKinney, who's one of our small forwards. Let me see. We are missing some others. So Lydia Hammond, Jillian Bulis, they're returners for us. And they really provide some sparks off the bench for us, and both at that guard. And Jillian can help us out in the post a little bit too when she needs to. Trying to think. I know there's probably others that I'm missing. We have a returner or not a returner, but we have a new girl named Beatrice. She's one of our foreign exchange students, and she helps us out on the perimeter. Gracie Riffle's returning, but unfortunately she suffered a season-ending injury, so we're trying to utilize her in other ways. But just trying to keep her as a active part of our program.
That just, I just got to go a little further with that. That stinks. I mean, and I know how you feel as a coach. You hate to see somebody lose a season.
Yeah. I think I might still be in mourning over that one. And not by any means like disappointed in her.
Right.
It's not a disappointed in her at all. It's a disappointed for her because I know how much she loves basketball and how hard she worked this summer to improve. And I mean, it just stinks for her that she's going to lose this season. And I mean, it hurts our team too, because she was a key component of what, we were hoping to do. But we've also tried to take the, next man up mantra to get the girls to realize, hey, yes, she's a huge component to our team, but we still have a lot of really good pieces and we can go out and be competitive and get some wins this year.
I just know as a coach, you look at that and you see how hard somebody works to get ready for a season and what they do. And then to not be able to show what work they put in, that just hurts.
I mean, it's gut wrenching. I can't even, like I said, I mean, I think I'm still in mourning about it. I look at her across the gym as she's, on her crutches or doing her physical therapy or something along those lines, and I just about tear up. It was, I mean, she's a great kid.
Is she a senior?
No, she's a sophomore,
which
I mean, that's one. I mean, if there's a silver lining here, I think that is it, that she is only a sophomore.
Right.
So we still have 2 seasons for her and we're trying to get her to recognize that too. But I mean, that just, it just stinks. There's just no other way to put it. It just stinks.
Well, I totally understand that. I lost my sophomore season to injury too. Couldn't play for the whole year. So I get that. I mean, I think it's good that you've got her involved though, because that makes a difference because they still feel like a part of it.
Yeah. Well, and I think that is our big push here is, I mean, just for her to recognize that, we are supporting her 100% through all of this. I told her, I said, you can't get rid of me that easily. So I'm trying very hard to just be that support that she needs and be whatever she needs me to be in that moment. But, that her teammates are there for her too. And, we've been trying to walk through the whole, it's okay to not be okay. Yeah. Your teammates can see that you're struggling and that's okay. I mean, that's real. That's what life is. So, yeah.
When you talked before, you mentioned some names I've heard before. And in a school the size of Triton, it's important that you get your athletes out. And sounds like you have some people. I'm sure it's going to pay dividends. How deep, even though it set your season back, it's going to pay dividends that those girls got some of that competition deep into a tournament.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I told the girls, I said, go as deep as you can. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I'm proud of you, and I tried to be in the crowd, cheering them on as loudly as I possibly could, and because it's one of those things, I'm one of those believers that success breeds success.
Yeah.
And then I told those girls, I said, now bring some of that momentum to basketball. Bring that confidence that you've gained in volleyball to basketball. And we have some track or some cross country runners that did really well. Yeah. And same thing, you know what I mean? They bring that to basketball. So it is really nice to have our athletes. I would think that we are, being a small school, we really applaud those kids that are our multi-sport athletes. It makes them very well-rounded. And so, yeah, I'm grateful that they all took a stab at coming back out for our team and our program. Even though, maybe last year didn't go quite as we had hoped, they're willing to give it another shot.
Talk about how it's gone. I mean, are you at a point where you feel good about where you're at? Are you behind? I mean, I'm sure you're a little behind the curve because some of those girls had a late start. But I mean, how do you feel about where you're at?
I think all of the above is the right answer there. like, I feel like we are already leaps and bounds better than we were last year because we had a good summer. We worked hard over the summer. The girls gained some very good experience and got better, in certain aspects. So that's a good thing. But at the same time, I feel like we're slightly behind just because we've had all of our girls together for, I think, a total of 7 practices.
Yeah.
So that's been really hard just because some girls we've had for 3 or 4 weeks. So they're a little more versed in what it is that we're trying to do. And then we have other girls where, they're still trying to get into some basketball shape and, get caught back up. And we don't have time, unfortunately, to just not move forward, So it's been an interesting balancing act, but it's something the girls have had come in with good attitudes. And I appreciate that and good work ethics. So yeah, we're getting there. And I think it's just going to continue to be a work in progress.
You did have a win the other night, too, and that's always good to start. I mean, that first time out there playing somebody else, how did you feel about that? I mean, you've had a chance to look at it. What did you do well? What did you do poorly?
Well, I think if you go back and watch that game, our first quarter and a half looked like we were a bundle of nerves.
Yeah.
We were kind of throwing the ball around and not really to anybody or throwing it at each other's knees or just not versed very well at all. But I think towards the end of that second quarter and then into that second half, you saw us kind of settle down and we showed some potential of what we could be. Defensively, I thought that we played really well. We pressured well. We had a few breakdowns, but that's to be expected every once in a while. Right. But I just was really pleased with our defensive effort. And I was really happy and impressed with the fact that we just kind of kept coming.
Right.
We never gave up. We played 4 quarters of basketball. And that's not something that we put together a lot last year. So the fact that we were able to come out of the gates and perform like that, I was very, very proud of the girls. I told them, you played with a lot of grit tonight and a lot of perseverance. And that is something that we've grown in. So I was very, very proud of that. Obviously, we need to, shore up our turnovers and take care of the ball a little bit more. Value, I think, every possession needs to be one of our mantras this year. And try to make something positive happen on every possession that we have offensively. So.
You got that first win. I'm looking at your schedule right now, and now the next 3, 2 of them on the road. You got a gauntlet. I mean, Valley, Plymouth, and Wawasee. That's a lot. How do you feel about that? I mean, obviously, you're going to enjoy being able to see where you're at and what you need to work on. But you got 3 really tough games coming up.
We do, and I think maybe the most difficult part about that is just the preparation piece, trying to prepare for each one of those teams separately, but yet you only have, Valley, we obviously have a few days to prepare for, sure. But, with Plymouth and Wawasee, it's very much, prepping on the fly because we only have 1 day in between those games. But I also think that it's important to focus on what we do and figure out what we can do well and try to really emphasize that. So, we're just trying to figure out what we can do to make our stuff, maybe as seamless as possible and then touch on their personnel. Valley really likes to pressure the ball, so we're going to have to handle it. Plymouth is young this year, but very talented. So that's going to be a good measuring stick for us just to kind of see how we handle that. And Wawasee, we were competitive with them last year. Honestly, we were competitive with Valley and Plymouth for a lot of the game also. So I'm intrigued to see how we come out against, some of those really good teams that are on our schedule. And like you said, it's going to be a good measuring stick for us. It's going to show where we need to improve. But it's also going to be able to show where we've grown as a team. So, it's when you look at it, you're like, holy moly, like that's a rough stretch. But, I don't really know that we have an easy stretch in our
I was
schedule.
going to say, it looks that way.
And that's okay. Like you don't want to play a cream puff schedule because ultimately at the end of the day, that doesn't prepare you for the postseason.
Right.
So, I mean, I know that we're really grateful that we got that first win, a good conference win. And, Argus gave us everything that we wanted the other night. And so we know that we're going to have to play better than we did, against Valley and Plymouth and Wawasee. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, good luck to you. We're going to have your game at Plymouth, so we'll get to see you for the first time there. And
awesome.
I'm sure I'm going to be bugging you as the year goes on. So
that sounds good. It's always a pleasure to talk to you.
Well, thanks for taking the time. I really appreciate it. And like I said, I'll be bugging you again soon.
Sounds good. Thank you, Rusty.
Ashley Faulkner, the head coach for Triton. We'll be right back.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927. And we're joined by Brenda Langowski, the girls cheerleading coach at Plymouth. I thought it would be good to get you on, especially since, you did have a state runner-up team last weekend.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Let's start off. I thought it would be good for those of us who haven't maybe even been to a competition. Talk about what's involved. I know I've talked to gymnastics coaches over the years, and they say, yeah, there's a lot of similarities between gymnastics and cheerleading, but the skill sets aren't exactly identical. They help each other, but there's different aspects to both. Maybe let's talk about the perfect skill set for a cheerleader.
Absolutely. So with cheerleading, there's many skills that we kind of require. But one of the biggest is just to be genuinely happy and just excited and happy to cheer on not only, on the competition mat, which is what we're obviously really honing in on this season, but also cheering on our football team and our basketball team and any other sporting events that we cheer at throughout the year. So just having a genuine smile and being excited to show our school support in any way possible. That is like the number one aspect of cheerleading. But as far as like athletic skills, we have quite a few things that we look at. So the girls, we start in April for this season. So we have tryouts in April. We look at kind of a number of things, memorization, their dance skills, whether they have tumbling / gymnastics skills, and just kind of like their overall motion placement, their technique on everything. But then On top of that, we look at what's called stunting. So with stunting, we we lift other girls. So we have typically in a basic stunt group, we have 2 bases and then a back spot, and then we have a flyer. And to do the more elite skills, the girls have to be able to lift each other. So we're in the weight room starting in April, and then we really start building up our endurance and doing all of that. So throughout the summer, we practice 2-3 days a week from April to July. And then in July, we start really ramping everything up and go 4 or 5 days a week and sometimes 6 days a week, pretty much from mid-July to March. So we have a lot of things that we're working on constantly because we're trying to build up our program as far as a competitive cheerleading squad, but we also want to make sure that we're still, on the sidelines and making sure that we're there for our boys and our girls basketball team as well, because we cheer girls and boys basketball. So we want to make sure we're trying to build up the team and the community support and spirit as much as possible for everybody. So, yeah, that's kind of a lot of things all at once.
When it comes to competition, I mean, I know there's certain routines. Yeah. I mean, and there's a level of artisanship. I mean, the arts that goes into this. I have a background in musical theater, so I understand every move you guys make is choreographed, and it's very
absolutely.
Do you do that, or does somebody help you with that? I mean, that has got to be an enormous task to put all that together, the music and the choreography.
Yeah, absolutely. So with that, so just our day-to-day choreography, I typically do a lot of it alongside. I take a lot of consideration from our upperclassmen and my assistant coach, Jaylee Ramirez. She's phenomenal. But then for competition itself, so with this being our first year competing, I really wanted to make sure I knew everything going into it. I mean, I was a cheerleader that competed, but on the coaching side of it, it's entirely different. So, all the rules and expectations, I wanted to make sure that I was setting up my team for success. So I really looked towards looked for help from a local cheerleading coach. Her name is Lisa Norville. She is actually the Northwood cheerleading coach who just won 4 times state championship. So 4 years in a row, they won state and they go to nationals every year. And she's a veteran in the cheer world. And she's been a huge, huge help and support with me and the girls. And just literally at 11 o'clock at night, I was texting her last night, okay, we're getting ready for national season. Anything else that I need to, look at? The score sheets are going to look different. What? So her and I are constantly going back and forth. I send her my routine. She's like, yes, yes, yes. Or ooh, can we tweak this? Really, looking at the support of other coaches in the area. As well as different choreographers I rely a lot on. So I'm from Ohio originally, and that's where I cheered back home and cheered in college back in Ohio. So I look at a lot of my cheer coaches and ask them for support as well. Because my program back home, we win championships left and right, and we go to nationals, we go to state, we do all that stuff, but back home we don't stunt. So that was a really hard transition for me to then learn how to add the stunting aspect into the choreography. So because stunting's a whole other beast in its own because it's of safety and legality reasons. So
So talk about some of your girls too. I mean, I'm sure that you've got some seniors you'd like to give a shout out to, and some outstanding performers. So go ahead and talk about your girls a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So this specific senior class is very special to me. I actually started coaching them as 7th graders. So when they were in 7th grade, I was my first year coaching. And then as they were transitioning up to the high school for freshman year, the position came open for the high school position. And, I was like, I tailored on it because I was a new mom at the same time. I was just transitioned to teaching. And so I was like, can I do it? And, I was like, you know what? This group of girls, I love them dearly. Like, I want to move up with them. So having this specific group of 10 girls now for 6 years has been anything less than perfection. I mean, I love each of them like they were my own children. They are some of the best performers I have ever seen, and they're hard workers, and they want this as much as I do. And they really push our program ahead and really, really do a huge and amazing job in support and working with our underclassmen and making sure that they know the expectations and, working with each other and pushing each other to the limits and, really, really doing amazing. So just, this group of girls couldn't be more happy and pleased with, and I will be crying like a baby come March when they're done with me. So,
well,
yeah.
It's always that way with your first bunch, though. I mean, just speaking as an old coach myself, that first bunch is always the most special bunch. And
absolutely,
obviously, they have responded and done what you wanted.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Yeah. So we've dabbled here and there. So my first year was 4 years ago at the high school, obviously. And my assistant coach now was a senior that year. Mm-hmm. And, the transition from old coaches to a new one is always hard, always. Yeah. And for any athletic program, and for her, kudos to the coaches that were before me. I mean, they did an amazing job and laid the foundation of like what cheerleading was. And then I just knew I wanted to take that next step. And Jaylee was like, yes, let's do it. So that first year, we did a small competition just locally. And we won that one. And then we dabbled again for the next year. We're like, okay, this is, we're feeling it. We like this. And then this year we're like, all right, we're going full force, all out or nothing. And let's see how far we can get and to just like go this entire season. I mean, we go against both 3A and 4A schools. So in cheerleading, we go based off of basketball classifications. So, we're technically a 3A school, but when we were at the smaller competitions, we were going against all the 4A schools. So we're going against HSC, we're going against Carmel, we're going against Fishers, we're like all Lake Central, like all of those huge schools. And like, we weren't necessarily placing the best at the beginning of the year because, we were new. I was learning every single competition, taking the judges, scores, because it's all subjective.
Right.
I mean, that's what score sheets are. And so I was like, okay, it's fine, and then state season started. And then when we qualified for this state, I was like, okay, that's history in its own. It's like, I will take top 5. I'll be happy with top 5. I will be more than happy with that because just to qualify was huge because there was 20 schools that even submitted to qualify for it. And we were in the top. So I was like, okay. And then last 2 weekends ago, we went to our game day state, and then we beat several of top in the nation schools, and we were the top 5 3A school. And I was like, okay, literally, I'm sure you saw a picture on our social media. I was like crying, and all the other coaches were hugging. And I was like, oh my goodness. And then last weekend, for our timeout state for the IASP, I was like, okay, top 5. I told the girls, no matter what happens, I'm just proud of them. We qualified. That's a goal in its own. And when they called us for state runners up, I was like, literally, I didn't have words. Right. Didn't have words. It was the most exciting thing. And just to see the girls' faces and how proud of themselves that they were and, taking that. And now we're like quickly transitioning from football season now to now basketball season, from our state cheerleading season to now our hopefully national season, because now we had to switch over our routine to try to qualify for nationals here in 2 weeks. So, and then nationals, if we were to qualify, would be in January down at Disney. So.
Yeah, I think you kind of answered my next question. I was going to say, I remember talking to you when you started this, just to get a little, let people know who you were for a little story.
Yeah.
And I was just going to ask, did you ever dream it would come this far, this fast? I mean, there'd never been competitive cheer here before.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely, I always wished, I hoped, coming from such a strong program that I grew up in, I was like, I wanted what my coaches had. Like, I've been cheering since I was in first grade. We were competing at the rec league, in the elementary school together. Like, I wanted that. And so, like, for us to get all of that just our first year in competing is unheard of.
Yeah.
It is absolutely unheard of. And it speaks volumes to especially the senior class and how hard that they've been working and how much they've been pushing each other for 6 years and just growing with each other each year, and going with my crazy ideas every single day, and transitioning from the last couple years, the groups that didn't have me originally, they were practicing originally 2 days a week, and then I can't come up, and this crazy coach from Ohio is like, all right, we're doing it every day. We're going to be practicing every single day. This is the expectation. I'm bound and determined to be recognized as a sport. Here in Plymouth, we're a part of the athletic department, but everyone has different ideas of cheerleading because we've never were competitive prior to this. So, which is understandable, but I was like, this is happening. This is what's going on. So get on board, and we're going with it, and let's have fun. So.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to be following you here as you go through the rest of your year, and I'm sure we'll catch up with each other a little bit later once you get to your nationals.
Let's fingers crossed. We are looking forward to it. We go down Sunday, November 23rd, I believe is the date, down to HSC down in Hamilton Southeastern. Huge, amazing school, and we might not be competing until 7:30 at night, so the next day is going to be rough. But, when we're 2.5 hours ride home, too. So we're so excited and, hope that we have those Mickey ears on here at the end of the month and shooting for, nationals. So, yeah.
Well, Coach, good luck to you. And like I said, we'll be in touch a little bit down the line. And
yes.
Like I said, good luck to you.
Yes, thank you so much, Rusty, and I appreciate that you have us on, and hope we talk soon and we're qualified for nationals.
We'll do that. That's Brenna Langowski, the head cheer coach of Plymouth, and we'll be right back. Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
And we're joined by Alex Robinson, head coach for the Bremen Lady Lions. And let's start before we get to your start. A lot of folks looking at your roster from last year would have said, man, graduation was rough on them, but it's not like the cupboard's bare. You got some really good players coming back. You knew Emma's given you a lot of scoring. You knew Eliana was going to do whatever as her senior year. The Feathers girls are having a good start. You just got a lot of people back that are going to make this a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, you always look at kind of yourself and other teams and what they lost and what they have coming back. And, of course, we lost our all-time leading scorer in Kyla Foster and a great 4-year player, Naomi Moyer, for us. And but like you said, we knew we had a lot coming back as well. And, naturally, those players with their experience are going to step up, kind of fill any voids that we had from last year. And then, we're really excited about some pieces that we're adding to the puzzle as well. So, every year's different. You got a new group, and we're really excited about the dynamic group we've got and our depth this year.
Talk about that a little bit too, because I know, from your standpoint, you've got a different skill set. I mean, you've got to adjust what you want to do to the skill set of the girls you have. What kind of adjustments are you going to have to make this year to the way you play the game?
Yeah, I think, just utilizing the strengths of what we've got. We've got some really experienced guards, and they like to get out and run, and they play fast. And they're also, extremely unselfish. So they get everybody involved, and, that becomes contagious on the rest of your team. So, one thing we're really trying to preach right now is just playing unselfish, making the extra pass, getting everybody involved. And, if nobody really cares too much about the box score at the end of the game, that's when we're going to be at our best. And, that's what I've seen so far. So I think just finding ways to utilize all of our strengths that we've got. For example, playing a little bit more through the interior this year. We've got, a couple 6-footers in the Feathers, and Natalie Harmon joining us this year. She was on our junior varsity last year, and we've got a pretty big front line. So, always having that post option in there, and the guards driving the paint, they've got someone to dump off to, or, maybe switching some things up with our transition and positions like that. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun when you've got a lot of pieces to work with to kind of retool after the season.
You mentioned something a little earlier about, not caring about the box score. Honestly, the times I saw you play last year, that's the way I thought your girls played then as well. I mean, didn't seem like it seemed like they didn't care what their numbers were at the end of the night, as long as the numbers on the scoreboard were in your favor.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. And, we're extremely fortunate to have that, because it's not always that easy, worrying about points and all of that. But, yeah, I genuinely feel like we have a group that, just goes out there and does whatever it takes to win. And they understand their roles, and, they're building chemistry, and they've been building chemistry for years. But I really think that starts with our seniors, just from the time they were in 6th grade. Just seeing them out there sharing the ball, and they're very prideful every time they're on the floor and competitive. And they know that the best way to be successful is to, do what's best for the team. And that, I've said it a few times, but that just rubs off on everybody else, and that's contagious. So we have some great senior leaders.
I was going to say, let's talk about them a little bit too, because Emma's been leading you in scoring a lot, and, she average-wise leads you, but I know Eliana seems like the kind of a player, once again, she might have 20 assists one night, 20 points the next. Mm-hmm. She can do anything. She just figures out what she has to do to facilitate everybody else. Emma Lawmaster, a really good player for you. I mean, you got some good seniors.
Yeah, those guards are quite a three-headed monster. And they can all shoot the ball. They can all attack the basket. They're all scrappy. They can set the tone defensively. They all, last game face guarded a really good player from Westville. So they're willing to do whatever it takes. And, like you said, some nights it might be Emma Kincaid scoring 20 and Lawmaster ripping down some rebounds and getting a ton of deflections. She had 8 assists and 1 turnover on Tuesday in our game against Westville. Grubbs just became our all-time leader in assists. She could also go for 20 points. And having the ball in Eliana's hands at the end of a game is a pretty good feeling because she is so poised and such a great leader out there. And, she's a really good decision maker too. So, yeah, we're in good hands with our 3 senior guards.
I'm going to say Eliana's been there since she was a freshman. I remember watching her play then and couldn't believe she was a freshman. She's just got that head about her, and she knows what needs to happen in order to win a game. And I agree with you. I'd be happy with the ball in her hands at the end of the game too.
Yeah, the poise. I mean, she never gets too high, never gets too low. And, that's a special kind of mentality. And to also be such a competitive gamer out there. So, she's a great leader for us.
Talk about your start, too. I mean, you're 3-0, and, it looks like your defense has really been solid to start with.
Yeah, we feel like, we can be a little bit more dynamic defensively this year. Last year we mostly sat in a zone, and that was good for us as well. But, this year we feel like we can mix it up a little bit more, especially with some of the length that we've got around the basket. And, our players are very smart defensively, offensively and defensively, but they're just smart and experienced players. So if you need to switch it up a little bit, they can. We did a 1-on-1 on Tuesday, and we had a practice Monday, but it was a snow day, so we were missing about a third of our roster. We were still able to just throw in a 1-on-1, played it all game after not talking about it once prior to that. So just a group that's willing to do whatever it takes. And we've had some rim protection this year as well. We blocked a lot of shots down low. Those Feathers girls, when they get their arms up, it's hard to shoot over them. And Natalie Harmon as well. She's been doing a great job around the basket defensively too.
I was going to say, the Feathers girls gave you a lot of good minutes last year, filling in and doing what they had to do. I got to feel like, they're going to be a big asset for you this year because they give you some length and some size in the middle. Yeah,
I mean, just watching last year and this offseason, you knew that, next year they were really going to take off being this year. But yeah, having those two out there together, that's a lot of length. They're just one in there at a time. Like I said, rim protection. They're really good athletes. They can run the floor, get out in transition a little bit. Skyly Feathers, she's a sophomore, and she can play a little bit on the perimeter. Defensively, she can play in the top of a zone and be disruptive or around the basket. And, Tegan, she's a junior now. She had a heck of a volleyball season.
Yeah.
And you could just see, the gears really turning and some coordination. She's stronger. So, she's a really good athlete as well.
I was going to say, some of the names you see on the other teams, girls' teams around. And, that's got to make you feel pretty good, too, because I remember Gary Hudson telling me one time, guys, he loved 3-sport athletes when he was there because you don't learn to compete by shooting free throws in the gym. I mean, you got girls that have competed and they know what it means when it's crunch time to compete. And, that I got to feel like you feel that's a bonus too.
Oh, I do. I mean, we have our off-season workouts. In the fall, we have 6 girls or so there, and that's okay because the others are out competing. And our volleyball team was really good this year. Emma, Kincaid, Eliana, and Tegan were leaders on that team. And then, even seeing our soccer team, we have a couple players on the soccer team as well. Seeing them go to state was really inspiring. And Lawmaster's an elite tennis player, and it's great to see them compete in other sports and just show that competitive nature and not get too burnt out on basketball either.
Right. Well, you got a tough one. We're recording this early. I don't ever try to make bones about that. You got a big game at Glen on Friday night. That's not only just a rivalry, but they've got a really good team this year as well. Plymouth coming up. We'll have that game on Max 98.3. We got you at Plymouth, but Jimtown, South Bend. You got a challenging schedule coming up.
Yeah, we're really getting into the thick of it. We thought Tuesday against Westville was a really good game to, get us a really good competitive opponent. And I really liked how we played there. But, that one's in the rear view, and now we just got to take it one game at a time. That's one of the goals that the girls said at the beginning of the season is don't get caught looking ahead at anybody. It's one game at a time. And we know John Glenn's going to be really tough here coming up. Like you said, it's a conference rival at their place. And then, it doesn't get any easier after that. So, yeah, we look forward to the challenge, and means basketball season's here. We want those challenges on our schedule, and we look at them all as opportunities. So it's exciting.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. Like I said, I'll probably be bugging you next week because you're at Plymouth. We'll have that game on the radio here. And good luck to you, and we'll be bumping into you as the year goes on.
All right. Well, I appreciate it, and we'll talk to you soon.
Alex Robinson, the head girls coach of Bremen.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
Culver's Portside Marina handles all water and recreational needs. When it comes to pontoons, Godfrey leads the industry in performance and quality, and Portside Marina has them in stock. From Sanpan, Aqua Patio, Sweetwater, and Monaco pontoons, if you're looking for a family boat, Culver's Portside Marina can help. Discover the evolution of the wake boat through luxury models offered from Centurion and Supreme Surf Boats. Yamaha Wave Runners and Kawasaki jet skis are on the showroom floor waiting. Located at 514 West Mill Street in Culver. Stop in or call them at 574-842-5000. Culver's Portside Marina.
And in this segment, Michaela Shalio, the head girls basketball coach at Plymouth, joins me. And your season's underway. You had a little blip the other night. It looks like shooting was the big problem there.
Yeah, we definitely have not shot the ball well thus far this season, but we had a really good practice. Thursday, we brought in guys' practice squad, and that was the first time this year to try to replicate some varsity defense. And honestly, we shot the ball the best we have all year in that practice alone. So I hope that's turning of an upside and moving forward from there. Yes, we did not shoot the ball well.
It's one of those things, though. I mean, it's like it comes and goes. I mean, even great shooters have off nights. So, it becomes at least the defense showed up, which, once again, defense travels. You can play it every night.
Yeah, our defense is looking really strong. Huddle had Marion for 38 turnovers. So we're forcing a lot of turnovers in the backcourt, which is good. We just got to make sure that we're capitalizing on them. And, for us, we're turning the ball over too much as well. And I think that's why our shooting percentage isn't what we need it to be, because they're taking rush shots in fear of, if I don't take this shot, we're going to turn the ball over. So we've been working on that, playing against pressure and getting great looks, inside-out threes, because, we have full confidence in our three-point shooters. Our team three-point percentage isn't what, we need it to be or what we believe it can be. And that's going to be a huge part of our game, but also just finishing bunnies inside with contact too.
How much do you think is the fact you do have a young team? Some of them, their first varsity experience. I mean, that's got to play into it a little bit, wouldn't you think?
Yeah, the big emphasis this year is just limit losing. And we got to do that by rebounding the basketball, not giving teams second chance opportunities. In both LaVille and Marion, LaVille, we limited them way better than Marion. And Marion, that was the biggest key. Keep them off the glass because they have two girls above 6 foot. and they had 21 offensive rebounds. So, right there, that kind of explains the extra possessions as well as turning the ball over. We turned the ball over too many times against Marion. We gave them in total between their offensive rebounds and our turnovers 47 extra possessions.
Wow.
And we still had more field goal attempts than they did. So we just can't kill ourselves, and that's what we're doing right now. And we're going to learn from that because we are so young, and that's a part of it. But our girls are eager to learn; they want to get better, and I believe that we will.
And it's funny. I think we talked about rebounding the last time we talked a week ago. I mean, it's such a huge part of what you do. Well, the Warsaw teams over the years, boys and girls, they make their living on offensive rebounds.
Yep, I told you that's going to be something you hear from me all year long. And if we can keep teams to one shot, we're going to be able to compete in some games. But any game where we're giving them that many second chance opportunities, that's hard to beat because they're in the position to just put it right back up and score, which is what happened on Tuesday night.
Once again, those rebound buckets are a lot higher percentage than the one that probably took before that.
Exactly. They're right underneath the rim. They're right where they want to be. But, I'll just reiterate, our defense in the backcourt, we're really doing a great job of speeding teams up. So once we can start capitalizing on that and getting a steal and then scoring in transition, I also think that'll help with the confidence between our three-point shots as well. We just need, to put the ball in the bucket, go out there with confidence, and make sure that our stops are turning into buckets for us.
Let's talk about the rebounding, the mechanics of it a little bit. Sure, it's like 90% desire, but there's still a knack to reading a ball that's going to come off the carom and being in the right spot to get it. It seems to me like that's a lot to do with repetition as well, the skill part of it.
Right. And we've done some different things in practice this week with the ball coming off the rim in different spots. But we talked about, if girls are on the baseline, we got to push them out of bounds rather than trying to just push them out of the paint. Because oftentimes, three-point shots are going to go long on the weak side. So if we can push them out of bounds underneath the basket, they may not get the rebound, the person boxing out, but someone else on their team will. We're clearing them out. And then, too, we showed them the clips against Marion from their offensive rebounds. Oftentimes when, it was a short bunny inside, we just turn and look rather than, really getting low, clearing someone out below the hips and using our body. Paige does a really good job of that, I will say. She does a great job of clearing space. And for Paige, it's just she has long arms, keeping her arms up and going and grabbing that board. So that's something we talked to Paige about. For the rest of our girls, it's just continuing to learn. Paige has size for us. Yeah. We're undersized, the rest of the way, but we can use our strength and clear people out and get in the right positions to be able to rebound.
And it looks like Chloe found a way to beat the scouting report. I'm sure she's going to be number one in everybody's list of know where she's at all the time, but she was able to get a really nice night the other night.
Yeah, she's doing things beyond just what she did last year, and that was pretty much just spot shooting. But she's doing a great job getting on the floor, hustling after loose balls, getting tips from the backcourt that are leading into steals for us. She's tipping it straight to our teammates, which are all great things. She's going on after the boards hard as well, which is great to see from a guard standpoint, being able to read the ball coming off the rim and giving us second chance looks. Her shot's not falling right now, but it's just something that we continue to tell her when the shot's not falling, what else can you add to this group? And she's doing that for us.
And the other part of that, too, is shooters got to shoot. That's the bottom line.
Yep. She'll shoot out of this slump that she's in right now. And, again, that's her and Liv, too, just being hands and feet ready rather than getting rushed. I feel like they catch. This is what I just see on film. They catch, they think about the shot, and they're like, crap, I got to shoot it right now. Yeah. Rather than knowing, okay, ball swings to me in the next possession. This is where they're at on a defensive rotation. I have to be ready, hands and feet, shots going up right away.
And that's something she's going to learn. She's only a sophomore. It's got to make you happy to see that simply because you're going to see her for 2 more years. She's just going to get better.
Yep. A lot of our girls are kind of where we expected them to be right now. Our defense is looking better than I thought it would be, only being 2 games in. So we just got to get the offense rolling in the right direction, finishing with contact, shooting the ball with confidence, and also getting more inside-out looks. That's going to help our percentage. So just those little things that will make a big difference, and we'll be all right.
I'm sure you saw some things you liked the other night, too. I mean, what things you did particularly well?
I'll continue to say our diamond press is looking really good right now. We've got length at the top of the diamond with Hayden or Paige, depending on who's in at the time. And our guards are moving and reading and anticipating well, whether that's a pass up the sideline or, a reversal pass. And our next guard is going to anticipate or be ready for the next trap. And then 2 in the half-court defense. Any skip passes thrown, we're doing a great job of reading along the backside and anticipating. Again, those are steals for us. We just need to make sure that we're capitalizing on them on the offensive end. And we got to get better at finishing with contact.
Yeah, I think that's something that, once again, comes with experience. Benji used to have trouble with that. By the time he finished playing ball over here, he was looking for contact. He was hoping for it. It takes a different kind of mentality to realize I'm in here, somebody's going to hit me, I'm still going to score.
It does, and that's a part of it too. Going hard enough at each other at practice. I was really pleased with our guys' practice squad and the way the girls, handled that Thursday night at practice. They were locked in. You never know really what you're going to get when you bring a group of boys in, and how will the girls respond to that. But they did a great job on both sides. I was very pleased with it. So we're going to try to bring them in twice a week. And, the girls were like, why are they even playing defense when we're doing shooting drills? Well, so we can shoot with a high hand closeout, so we're used to it in games. So it was all good things. And the girls did a great job about being focused. And they said, wow, that went by fast. I think it was something that they really liked. So we'll get them in there as much as we can.
And that competition sometimes brings out the best in people, especially when you got a good group.
Yep. This group is hungry. So we're going to keep fighting. We're going to keep learning. And, with a young team, it's just growing game by game, not getting stuck in the trenches, and being able to persevere and learn.
Well, you got a tough week coming up. I mean, you got two rivalry games coming up next week during the week. You got Michigan City tonight. I mean, that's a tough stretch.
Absolutely. I'll talk on Michigan City first. So, they're a really fast team. They like to play in chaos, which could work to our advantage because I trust our defense, forcing turnovers. And if they can get out of defensive rotation, Michigan City, then that's going to be opportunities for us to get backdoor cuts or get an inside-out game with our three-point shooters ready along the three-point line. But we have to make sure that, when we do get beat off the dribble, because they are fast and shifty, that we're helping and dropping to help the helper. So we worked on that Friday at practice, and we can't beat ourselves, so we got to keep them off the glass. They've got some bounce to them, so clearing them out of the paint and limiting those second chance opportunities and not turning the ball over ourselves, we'll be okay. So that's going to be a huge emphasis for us tonight. And then, yes, next week, we're back at home with Bremen and Triton, both smaller schools that are hungry to beat us. So we got to be locked in at practice, ready to go.
I know coming up on Tuesday, Bremen, Alex Robinson just seems to reload every year. I mean, you look at what he lost to graduation last year was a lot, and he's got 2 or 3 girls right back just filling those spots, and they're playing really well.
Yep. Foster was a great shooter for them, and Moyer was a great presence inside, but they still have Grubbs and Kincaid who are leading that ship and leading it well. And then they had, a freshman come in who's pretty talented herself. So they're going to be ready to go, and they're a tough team. They're putting up a lot of numbers right now. So we have to make sure, that we're not beating ourselves. That's going to be the biggest key all year for us, focusing on ourselves with the young team that we are.
There's no extra impetus, being a Bremen graduate to maybe, get that win either on Tuesday, is there?
You said it, not me. I love Raba. I love what he's doing. I love how hard the girls play. I'm happy for him, but yeah, definitely not cheering for him Tuesday night.
Yeah, no matter, it's friendly, but, it's always nice to beat the neighbor. So, anyway.
Absolutely.
Well, we're going to have you next week twice, so I'm going to be bugging you a lot next week. We got you for Bremen and Triton, so
looking forward to it.
Looking forward to it as well, and I guess I'll run into you before the week is over, at least once or twice.
All right, Rusty.
Michaela Shalio, head coach of the Plymouth Lady Pilgrims.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
Coke Zero is now Coke Zero Sugar with great Coke taste. Some people were excited to hear the news. Some were skeptical. So we're not going to have the star of the show you're watching come out and say, "You'll love it." No special jingle written by this week's hottest pop star. No famous internet celebs who happen to be holding the label just so. Okay, maybe just one little portion. The only thing that will make you believe Coke Zero Sugar has great Coke taste is trying it yourself. Ice cold Coke Zero Sugar. Try one today.
And joining us is Jeff Kaiser, the head coach of the LaVille Lancers. Tough loss last night, man, but I mean, it's one of those games where you got to feel good about your guys. They left it out there. There wasn't anything else they could have done. They gave it all they had.
Yeah, and super proud of my team for that. That's one thing that we will hang our hat on year after year at LaVille is that we're going to leave it on the field, win or lose. Our guys, were challenged at halftime down 21-0, and you ask the guys, are we going to lay over? Are we going to continue doing what we do? And I felt the most part in the second half, we definitely we outplayed them, but unfortunately that's only 24 minutes of the game. So, but yeah, always proud of my guys for never giving in and trying to find a way to win a ball game that just kind of wasn't our night last night.
I just kept going back, especially later in the game, to the fact that the way they play. Not only does every possession become more important than in a normal football game, almost every play becomes a do or die because they take that kickoff. That goes 7 minutes before they put a score in. You may not see the ball again for a whole quarter. You get what I'm saying? I mean, I just kept going back. What if they'd had another couple of possessions? I think that would have been a different game.
Yeah. It's funny you say that with time of possession because I talked right to my offensive coordinator, Nick Roseland, and I said, shortly before we were doing pregame, and I said, what really concerns me is they're going to ball control us. And that's what that offense can do to you if you're not getting first and second down stops, right? Because they're just going to keep running the ball, and that clock's ticking, and they're in no hurry to get the snap off. The first drive, 7 minutes. That's tough. I mean, took us a minute and a half to score. Yeah. So, and we knew we're a quick strike offense with what we run and the guys we have, running our offense for us. And what really hurt was when we were able to get a couple turnovers and we got nothing out of that. In big games, you got to capitalize on those. We've talked about that from day one. And unfortunately, Pioneer took some things away from us, and we came up with no points after 2 turnovers, which, in a championship game, 2 turnovers are huge. Yeah. And they came at crucial times. And so, between that and then, our opening drive, we moved the ball right down the field. We're doing what we wanted to do exactly on film, what we've seen. Schwitz was orchestrating the offense really well, and then they get us to a 3rd and 2 and call timeout, and we literally just folded kind of. Pioneer made some adjustments and got a little more aggressive, and we couldn't get 2 yards on 2 downs, and that's again something you cannot do at that level of our season. Where we're at, you're playing for championships. You got to capitalize on those, and unfortunately, we didn't get it. We were close. Wasn't by a lack of effort. It was just, Pioneer was at the right place, right time.
Yeah, that play is one, not getting it on the 4th and goal there. But, then you had a pass that unfortunately got through the hands of one of your receivers that could have made a difference in the second half. I mean, it was one of those games that hinged on maybe 1 or 2 plays, and we say that all the time, but it really did last night.
Yeah, unfortunate that 4th down, late, and that was the 3rd quarter there, 4th quarter. Man, I thought Connor Raymore had that ball.
Yeah.
Schwitz did a great job scrambling and I mean, threw a dime. I mean, it was in stride and watching film and seeing, I mean, Connor had the ball, and the way it looks on the angle is his leg knocked that out of his arm. And what a heartbreaker, because at that point we scored on that play. I mean, you were there, you seen it. I mean, it's, and it wasn't a blown coverage. I mean, the guy was there, right? I mean, it was literally stride for stride pass. He threaded the needle. We scored there, Rusty. It's a 7-point game.
Yeah.
And we've scored, and then not only that, but we would score 21 points in a quarter, right? Like after being down 21, so, that execution, I mean, it was great. I mean, it was a great play. I mean, even though he dropped it, I mean, I can't, I take on it, but we had some other drop passes earlier in the game that, my goodness, I mean, we're making those catches 90% of the time through the season, and uncontested passes too. That's where it's like, take on it, right? Because we've done that all year. It's not like we tried a new play and put a guy out of position, and no fault of effort. I mean, it's part of the game, and just, you take a handful of plays just on our offensive side away that we didn't execute, and necessarily not what Pioneer didn't they didn't take from us. We just didn't do the job. Where are we at then, right? Does that swing momentum to where we can get those defensive stops that we were just trying? I mean, I threw the book at them. I mean, there's times, Rusty, I mean, like I said, you're there at 9 in the box, I'm sending 8 guys, and we still just could not get a stop. And, that's, uncharacteristic of what we do, but it's something I felt we had to do, right? I mean, it wasn't like we had guys out of position to not make plays. Like, we're just not finishing plays, or when we were getting, a stop for, 1 or 2 yard gain, they're getting 4 out of it, and those start adding up to where they stay ahead of the sticks. And again, like we talked about a little bit ago, the clock continues to run, then they move the sticks again. I mean, it's like the game is in slow motion because we're right there. But again, like I said, our kids playing hard, are creating those opportunities to get the stops. And unfortunately, like I said, it's just one of those, it just wasn't our night. Pioneer's a very good team. I mean, I'm not going to take anything away from Coach Barry and what they do down there. They believe in their system, and those guys were executing, and we didn't get them on our heels enough to make a difference last night.
I think that was the thing, was the execution that was the difference in their offense. It wasn't that they were doing anything special. It wasn't that you guys weren't where you needed to be, but I mean, they're like a machine. Every piece of that machine moves in perfect sync, and that is just, it's tough to handle.
Yeah. I told one of my assistants last night after, I had a talk with the guys in the locker room. I said, I bet they ran 4 different offensive plays, and that's it tonight.
Yeah. Yeah.
We took a couple things away from him, and he never went back to it, and he just stuck to what was working, and that's what you do. I mean, that's no need to try changing anything that's working, right? I mean, you just don't do that. And You know, he found something in our defense, and you know, hats off to that staff and those kids executing. But you know, it's just you know, you're still numb. You know, you're still numb as a coach. I'm sure you're still numb as a player. You know, I mean, it took me a minute to walk in the locker room and talk to the guys. You know, and it's just, you know, I walk in and tell the guys, this is a speech you never prepare for. Yeah. You know, and you don't want, but you know, it's one of those things where it's a moment, right? It's a moment in your life to where, you know, it's disappointing. You know, you ask yourselves, did you guys lay it on the line? And I can honestly say we can check that box as a team and as a staff. You know, we did everything we could. You know, and remember the great things, not the bad things. You know, and losing a game isn't a bad thing. It's just an unfortunate thing, right? And that's a life skill. You know, I told the guys a week ago, we're at one of the ultimate highs, right? You win a sectional that people didn't think we could get through. And then exactly a week later, I have 15, 16, 17-year-old kids that are saying, you know, goodbye for the year. Yeah. You know, in a week. You know, it's like a light switch. And that's just, it's hard. You know, it's hard as a staff, you know, to adjust now. Like you put so much into it. And I know, you know, our guys put, you know, between our staff and our players put a ton of time into our program. You know, there's not a kid that doesn't play the game of football at Laville that doesn't talk football year round. And then when the season's there, they're sacrificing everything they have. And now it's like, it's ripped out, right? Like it's over already. And it seems like we just started, you know? And so, you know, it's a numbing feeling. It's again, it's part of life, and we'll move on. And you know, I had to say goodbye to 10 pretty solid seniors that contributed big time to Laville football.
Yeah, that's the toughest part. I had one of the Plymouth's defensive coaches was doing the game with me last night, and the comment he made, I didn't even think about until he said it. He says, what they do, you can't stunt to stop it. He says, because if you're stunned, you're leaving a gap open somewhere, and they'll just find that. I mean, it's got to be frustrating to look at something like that and just have no way to attack it unless they make a mistake.
Yeah, and that's, you know, like I said, you know, and he's exactly right. I mean, I'm not the type of guy who wants to blitz every play, right? Like you know, let's play assignment football, and you're going to beat me with the fundamentals. And you know, I just felt the way we couldn't get gears shifted last night. I was trying to get us to make that play, right, and just see if we can ride that wave on the defensive side of the ball. And you know, when you do blitz, you hope that kid understands that this is my gap, right? Like your guy was talking about last night. Like, you hope he doesn't cheat a little bit because there's an emotion, right? Or because his read is that guard pulling, you know, and now he's taking a step to the right, and now you created that seam. Because, I mean, watching film, Rusty, there's times there's like a foot gap, right? That running back's coming through, and daggone does he get through there, you know? And it's like, man, like we are right there. And it's just, you know, again, it was almost like it was slow motion watching it, because it's like, all right, we got him. And the next thing you know, he's rambling for 15 yards, you know? And again, you know, it's those kids running hard, but, you know, I mean, it's just, you know, again, we lost to a good team, you know, and this team, you know, you take it for what it's worth. This team definitely overachieved this season, you know, and overcame a lot. You know, setting at 2-4 and in your season 8-5, that's pretty good stuff when you're dealing with kids that can, you know, sign off on you, right? You know, and sign off on their brothers, and that's just a tribute to the sacrifice and dedication, and knowing these kids, knowing the work they put in starting in January. You know, it's not just putting that helmet on, let's go play. You know, there's programs that do that. And those are the programs that when you're at a crossroad, you can't overcome it, because you truly haven't sacrificed all that time, right? And to be a good team, to be a good player, to be the best me. And so, you know, when you challenge guys at that crossroad, you know, and at Laville, like, we know that when the challenge is out there, our kids will respond. and made it through our gauntlet schedule, which prepares us for this postseason, prepared us for winning big games. But we did a lot of great things, with this team. And the biggest thing is just, the memories they'll have of how they responded, and then being able to put a piece of hardware in the trophy case is something that nobody can ever take from these guys.
Talk about your seniors a little bit too, because I know this is going to be a special bunch that you're never going to forget these guys. I mean, you just had they looked like they liked playing together, and they looked like they loved playing football, and that is huge.
Yeah, these guys, through 4 years, they were the scout guys, right? They bought their time and worked their way up through our system, and truly loved the game. I think because of how passionate the upperclassmen that they had ahead of them, how they were, and dedicated, and they seen that, right? And then these kids knowing that us coaches trust in them, and we're right with them when there was some doubters out there that, oh my, you lost a lot of really good kids from the year before. What are you going to fill it with? Well, you lose kids every year. Yeah. It's how a staff adjusts to it, and if they adjust to it, right? But I'm just going to go through the list in no particular order. These seniors, very special. These guys set some marks, broke some individual records, which were old records, Rusty, like old, and not only broke them, but really kind of shattered them.
Yeah.
And so that's attributed again to their dedication, their goals, and then playing as a unit. You only get some individual records because you played as a team. And the guys that broke some records will tell you that. And I heard it last night in the locker room. They thanked each other. And that's what you want, because when you can thank the brother next to you, he's given everything he's got, and you've given it back to him. And that's what you do when you're dedicated to your program. But again, no particular order. I'm gonna go right down my roster. Braden Schwitz, our quarterback and linebacker, phenomenal year for him. Broke several records, and those were goals of his, and he orchestrated our offense very well. Cole Stafford, running back, linebacker. Again, Cole tied a record. Last year he got a record. I mean, he's up there. He was a workhorse running back, linebacker for us. Bought his time, played behind some really good guys ahead of him, and when his time came to shine, he did. Chase Lee was a wide receiver DB for us. Chase came back to us this year as a senior year, and really had a great year. I mean, he overcame a lot from the previous year, and said he missed the game, wanted to come back, and we were open arms, and he was a big asset on our defense for us. Yeah. Peyton Klein, wide receiver DB. Peyton was a special teams guy, was always ready to go on the special teams. We got him in on some defense. Was a committed scout guy for us. It was just one of those things where he rallied up the scout guys and, made sure we had the guys out there and bought in. Definitely a program player. Brock Guest. Brock was a fullback, defensive lineman, just a gritty guy that just does what you have to do. He's moved around. He played some center for us last year when we had some unfortunate injuries. We moved him back to the fullback. He's an undersized nose tackle he's gritty. He's going to get down in there. Again, he had a really good career for us. Nehemiah Stanley, offensive lineman, D lineman / linebacker. Nehemiah, unfortunately, last year had a really devastating knee injury, blew the knee out completely. Did not know if he was going to be able to get recovered enough to play his senior year. And right before our parent senior night week, he was cleared to play. And he fought through a lot of things to, put that jersey on again his senior year. And that's tough to do in a kid when he just doesn't see the light at the end of the tunnel. He's standing around with his brothers, and it's his senior year. So really proud of the way Nehemiah fought back and didn't give in, and made sure he could get back on that field for us, and he did. Nate Jones was an offensive lineman, D lineman. Nate was on a couple special teams. Again, a senior that was, a scout leader for us. Program player again. Did some little things for us that we needed to get done. Showed up every day and made sure our varsity guys were getting better. Cade Hernandez, offensive lineman. He played middle linebacker and D-line for us. Again, proud of this kid. He was an impact player for us. Did a lot of little gritty things. Overcame a lot from last season. Matured this season. I think football has definitely helped this kid get through. And just again, when you overcome a lot of things and you stay dedicated and stay focused, and his best year was this year, and I think it's because he matured and was doing the little things off the field that he needed to do to ensure that you can concentrate on football. So he's come a long way. Braden Foster, offensive lineman, linebacker, one of the best players I've coached. Just a good kid. He's going to go play on Saturday.
Yep.
I'm excited for him. He's on a visit this morning. He's number one, in his class. That's tough, right? An athlete,
Yeah.
three-sport athlete, to be number one is saying something.
Yeah.
He's going to be very successful. And then Riley Philly. Riley was an offensive lineman, D lineman. Riley got moved around a lot this year. We were trying to find pieces, and Riley has a raw talent, skill set, and so we were trying to figure out where we could get him to lock in and be able to be successful. It's a senior that had bought his time, and we moved him from a tight end to a fullback. We put him out at tackle a couple times, and then we're like, you know what? Let's get this kid at center. And he settled right in there. Never batted an eye to move positions again, which is a program player, right? He never said no. And I think that's just because we gave clear direction. And again, I think the trust of those kids knowing that we're trying to allow you to be successful to allow us to win, right? And so, he was an outside linebacker, and we moved him down to D tackle, and did a nice job there as well. So, again, a senior that was doing whatever it took for his brothers first, made sacrifices and never resisted in moving those spots, and just wanted to contribute to us, and he did. And so that was our 10 seniors that we just said, goodbye to. And it's a really, really, gifted class that, you just never want to see your kids, have to go through losing and finishing their season. But unfortunately, it's part of the process, right? And now you just hope that these 10 guys take something from football and life, and it helps them get through. And that's the biggest thing. There's not a better sport that can help you be successful in life. And hopefully, between not only in high school career, but their junior high, when they were with Coach Mum and then worked up through the system, that they've learned some things that'll excel them away from the game of football. And then my staff, Coach Harvey, Coach Bedock, Coach Lawler, Coach Esch, and Coach Roseland, great guys. We were overachievers because of the sacrifices. And, as a coach, you can't thank them enough.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah, they take time away from their families, and I don't think people understand how much time you guys put in. I mean, there's a lot of hours with film, scouting reports, dealing with kids off the field as well. I mean, there is a huge investment in time for your coaching staff.
Yeah, and that's for sure. People don't see that, and that's one thing. Like, this staff is dedicated, and on the field, off the field, and it shows when you can overachieve as a program. And I know, like, I'm using overachieve a lot, but there was a lot of things against us, coming into this year, because we had lost a really good class before those guys. And you overachieve because your players buy into you, and they buy into your staff, and then the staff buys into them, right? Like the trust goes both ways, and then you're able to put that product on the field. And when you make adjustments or a coach is coaching his position up, those guys believe in what they're teaching them. And so, I go back to the theory of, you're only going to get what you put in. And there was never a doubt that our coaches, my coaches I have, were putting time in to allow our kids to be successful and put them in a position to be the best team each Friday night. And, again, I was blessed with that and thank their families for the time that they were away and, kicking that pigskin around, because, it's a sacrifice that their wives and their kids and everybody has to buy into as well.
Well, old coach's kid here. I know exactly what you're talking about. I'm just looking at it's interesting you brought up what you did a few minutes ago, because every coach I've ever known that I talked to that's had success, they say the same thing. They say, I didn't bring anything special. I got lucky. I had a bunch of kids who believed in what I was trying to teach them and bought into it. Without that, I wouldn't have had anything.
Oh, you're 100% correct. You're only as good as your staff, and then your staff's only as good as your players, right, of what they put in. And you got to surround yourself with good people. I tell the kids, the excitement and the people in the stands and, this and this is, they're not here for me. I'm just a coach.
Yeah.
Right? They're here for you guys. You've created everything and every opportunity you guys have created, because I'm going to coach each kid the same. It's not going to change. There's a flatline coach, and we're going to excel with it or we're not. And that's it. But we're going to put the energy in. But they're not here to see my energy. They're here to see your guys' energy and the work and dedication you guys have put in. They're here for you guys. And so that's it. I mean, it's the kids. It is the kids' buy-in, the kids' sacrifice, and it's for everybody that has eyes on a program is for the kids. And I firmly believe that. And if they're not there for the kids, there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? Because there's so many distractions in the world today. And it's not, life's not easy. And they could drift away, right? They could not lock in. They may not buy in, but our kids bought in, and that allowed us to do what we did. And then, but again, a coach can only do so much. You got to have the guys to buy in and put the time in and understand what you want to get accomplished.
Well, man, I want to thank you for all the time you gave me. You guys don't understand how easy it makes my job with you when you're available and there for me too. So I want to thank you for that. Got a chance to meet some of your kids personally, and they're great kids. And I don't know. I guess we'll be doing this again next year, God willing, for both of us.
Yeah. And Rusty, we thank you as a program, in community, because what you guys do is it's priceless. And again, you go back to it, and you yourself as well. You do this for these kids.
Yeah.
And these kids deserve people like you to expose our program and get their names on the airwaves, right? Like this is it for them, right? And hearing their name on a radio and hearing their name on a broadcast, and the parents sitting there listening to your broadcast, and like they feel good about that, right? It's not just sitting there watching a game, and that's you guys and what the radio stations do, and it never goes unnoticed, and especially in the LaVille community. And again, Rusty, we appreciate you and want to continue doing whatever we can to help you guys be successful, to help our kids be successful.
You got my vote on that one, man. That's exactly why you do it. Neither one of us is getting rich. We just do it because we want to give back. I don't know about you, but I had such a great experience playing. I played for a lot of great coaches, and I just like giving back because I know what it meant to me, and I hope maybe it means something to some of these other guys too.
Well, you're exactly right, Rusty. It's why we do this, and it's why we continue to do it. And again, we appreciate what all you've done and how you've stepped in and in circumstances that you had to. And we're blessed to have guys like you around, Rusty.
Well, man, I'm just happy to get to know you guys too. And like I said before, we'll get this started again. It'll seem like a week when August comes around again, but we'll be in touch.
All right, Rusty, we appreciate it. Thank you.
Jeff Kaiser, the head football coach at LaVille. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back. You're listening to the Saturday Morning Coaches Show.
When it comes to your money, you want a bank that understands you. At First Federal Savings Bank, we offer more than just a place to deposit your paycheck. We're here for you every step of your journey. Need a loan for that new dream home? We've got you covered. Looking to save for the future? Let's make it happen together. From personal banking to business banking, we offer full-service solutions tailored to your needs, online, in person, or over the phone. No matter where you are, we're with you every step of the way. First Federal Savings Bank, we don't want to be the biggest bank, just the best. Borrowers must meet underwriting guidelines. First Federal Savings Bank is FDIC insured and equal housing lender. NMLS number 399927.
McDonald's restaurants in Plymouth and Bremen, Indiana are now owned and operated by local residents Bill and Flo Bolt. Bolt Enterprises are proud to own and operate all 4 McDonald's restaurants in Marshall County. Become part of the McDonald's family today with Bolt Enterprises McDonald's.
Cole Stafford joins me, the Tony the Boss Ross Player of the Week this week. Man, you had a great game last week. Congratulations.
Thank you. Means a lot.
Talk about that a little bit, too, because, I mean, I'm going to tell you what I told your coach. The only thing I can compare to, I'm an old baseball coach, so when you have a great outfielder and some ball gets hit in the gap, and you see him go after you, think, boy, he's going to have to get on his horse to get, and he just glides over there and makes it look easy. That looked like what you were doing the other night, just gliding and waiting your turn and bang.
Yeah, you just got to read all the holes, wait your turn, just really depend on your line. Having a great line like we do here, it's just, you read off the blocks and then you find your hole, then you just hit that and go home.
That's got to be a process over the course of the year because you got new linemen and everything else. I mean, you got to relearn all that stuff too, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a completely different speed from last year to this year, from going right off balls to the walls, going right at it. And then for now, reading your blocks, waiting for those gaps, and just being patient.
You mentioned your guys a little earlier. Talk about your linemen. I mean, those are the, I know every running back, that's the guys that get the steak dinners.
I love them. Oh my gosh, Braden Foster.
Yeah.
He just, every single time we get back to our huddle, he tells me to read his inner hips, which guy's pulling, all that, and just what hole to hit or hit. The guy just tells me everything, and I just follow him, and he's a great kid.
Seems like your offense has really developed over the course of the year too, and gotten better. And it looks like you got it. You've got everything in gear.
Yeah, it feels like everything is perfectly organized as I want it, and we're looking great.
Yeah,
I'm feeling great. It's looking great. I like it.
How do you feel about overall where you're at? I mean, I know Braden's a heck of a quarterback. You mentioned Foster. You got a lot of guys that are just now hitting their stride, aren't they?
Oh, it feels great. We got Connor Amore out there, Braden Schwitz, their combo out there. They're really good. We got Dylan Miller. He's really fast. Yeah. He's good. You can always throw up a ball to him. Noah Menace, never let him down. Yeah. He'll get one over your head. And our line has progressed a lot. They got really good at blocking for passing and offensive line.
That's tough, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It truly is.
I know a lot of the linemen I know, they don't mind run blocking that much, but pass blocking is a different animal.
Yeah.
Talk about yourself a little bit. I mean, you have a favorite subject in school?
My favorite subject's usually math, but this year I'm loving English. That Mr. Hill, our teacher, he's a great guy. He makes everything interesting. He's hands-on, funny guy. I love everything about him.
Obviously, I'm an English guy too, so good choice there. Math, not so much. I mean, think about. Let's talk about your future. I mean, have you thought about college?
I've thought about college quite a bit, but I don't know. My brother's done Union. He made some good money. Might lead in that path. I haven't really picked what I wanted. I'm just kind of floating around to see what hits me.
Well, it's like I told Braden last week. I got 2 kids. One's an electrician, the other's in electronics, and they make more money than I do. So, yeah, you could do worse than that.
That's true. That is true.
What is it that you think you'd go into if you do get into the trades?
If I do, I would follow my brother's footsteps and become a HVAC man.
Oh, yeah.
What was that called? the operator.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. There's a lot of money in that.
Oh, yeah. He's making bank right now. He's living on a good chunk of cash.
Let's talk about your family a little bit. You got mom and dad, brothers and sisters. What are their names?
I got one brother named Levi Stafford. He just moved out of the house a couple of years ago. He played on his team. He was a great help.
Yep.
I got Lucas Plummer is my cousin. He just graduated a couple of years ago. And my mom, she works in a factory, but she's a great woman. She takes care of me every day. I love her so much.
I want to thank you for taking the time, get to know us a little bit. Good luck to you, and I'm sure we'll catch up with each other down the road.
All right. Thank you. Good to meet you.
Cole Stafford, our player of the week.
Thank you.
Looking for a stable career in an industry that doesn't slow down? Hoosier Racing Tire in Plymouth, Indiana is seeking motivated people who believe in quality and want to work in a safe environment. With thorough training provided for all positions, no experience needed. Second, third, and weekend shift production wages start around $20 an hour with potential at $25 an hour within a year. Quarterly bonuses, paid time off, and health insurance benefits that start on day one. Apply online at HoosierTire.com. That's HoosierTire.com. Hoosier Tire is an equal opportunity employer.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
And joining us in this segment, Travis Smith, the wrestling coach of Plymouth. I noticed your girls opened their year, so I thought it might be time to get with you and get like a preseason roundup of what's going on. So why don't we start with your girls? The other night, I mean, that had to hurt that you lost, but you know, a lot of good performances. I'm thinking.
Yeah, so I mean, we gave up 12 points off the bat for forfeits.
Right.
So, you know, we lost by 1 point. So, our girls wrestled really well. All of our girls wrestled really well, even in the losses that we had. They're all looking pretty good. So I was happy with their performance.
Now, this is what the third year, but really the second year of fully, I don't know, IHSA sanctioned girls. I mean, it seems like you got a lot of girls out. I mean, that's got to be a decent number.
Yeah, we got 12 girls on the team right now. A lot of schools, you know, they're struggling to put numbers up like that. A lot of it has to do with the girls that started with us. We got a core group of girls they're really hard workers. They're really fun to be around. And so then, you know, they start drawing in some other girls. And then we have some girls that they wrestled in my club and they're starting to come through now, wrestled in middle school, stuff like that. So yeah, it's not, you know, it's looking too good, or it's looking pretty good. It doesn't look too bad. And so, you know, we're definitely happy with it.
Talk about them a little bit too, because you've had some girls that had some really good, your daughter especially had some really good success in the last couple of years.
Yeah, Angel, she placed fifth her freshman year, placed third last year. She's a super hard worker. And then she's got a couple teammates on the team that are her size that you know, they give her really good looks. And you know, one in particular is Caroline Belika. She literally, her and Angel spent pretty much the summer together, going to Chris Flieger's up in New Carlisle and being at our gym 2 days a week. And you know, they just did extra work. They did the summer camp up there. I mean, they literally wrestled the whole off season together.
Let's talk about that a little bit, because you brought up something that, you know, every sport like football depends on the scout team, you know, the one-on-ones and basketball. The other guy that may not be starting, pushing you to be better.
I got to feel like in wrestling, that practice person, that person that can go against you, is even more important than any sport. Because, like I say, you got to have somebody that can push, and if you don't have that, you're not going to get as good as you can.
Absolutely. I mean, if you look at wrestling, a lot of the times, if you have a really good wrestler on your team, the kids in that weight class that's near them, they're solid too.
Yeah.
And so, we're lucky, man. We've got, we got 3 returning state qualifiers. Jaden Eskew was a state qualifier last year, and she's looking really good. She did some good work in the off season. And then we got 2 girls that were regional ticket rounders, Taya Barnhart and Ava Lloyd. Both of them good athletes, good wrestlers. They have good mentality. And so then, we got some freshmen coming in, Chloe Carlton, Cassie Souders, Ella Muffley. They wrestled in middle school, so they got some experience. And then we got a few new girls that, they seem super interested in it, and they're having some fun with it. And so when you have a group of wrestlers, and the cool thing about a lot of our good wrestlers are, Jaden Eskew wrestles 100. Cassie Souders, who's coming from middle school as a freshman, wrestles 105, and they wrestle together a lot. And so Cassie's going to improve because Jaden's right there with her. Right. You know what I mean? Jaden's in that weight class. They're wrestling together every single day. And so Cassie's really going to improve with that. And then, as Cassie gets better, then Jaden's going to have to get better. And that's kind of, what you create. And then you got Taya up at 145. She wrestles with Angel and Caroline all the time. And then in between those are Chloe Carlton, and we have a young lady that just joined the team, and her name's Trinity. And so then they're in that group together, and they're all athletic. They're all hard workers that, I can coach them, easy to coach. And so it's really cool to watch all that come together.
Let's move on to your guys now. Now, they haven't started yet, but I'm sure that, the last time we talked, it seems like forever now, but you had a lot of guys that were putting in the time in the summer. And that's really key, isn't it, as you move into the new season?
Yeah, so we graduated a lot of our kids that came up together. The year 2 years ago, I graduated 5 seniors that were all studs. Last year, I graduated some seniors that were studs.
Yeah.
This year, we're kind of into a phase where we have a young team. We're into the years where there was no club in Plymouth,
right?
During those young years. So this year is going to be a rebuilding year. It's going to be a refocus year, trying to get these guys focused on putting in the outside work, loving wrestling, not pushing them to hate the sport and not enjoy it. You know what I'm saying? And so, this year is going to be a rough year just based on experience and our numbers are a little down because, again, we've got, some kids that we got a group of kids that didn't have a club.
Right.
And so, we're working on getting those numbers back up. But the group of kids that I have 15 boys right now, and the group of boys that I have yesterday, even, at practice, I got after them a little bit because, they were slacking a little bit and showing, making faces when I told them to run, things like that. Little, how it goes.
Yeah.
Little things like that. And so I started getting after them, man, and they responded great. They every one of those kids looked me in my eyes, yes, coach. And the next time I told them to take off running, they took off and they worked hard. And so we got a good group of kids that they want to be good. I think that over the course of the season, we're going to see some really, really good progress. But we're going to have to take some lumps this year, and we're okay with that. We understand that.
And I think it's kind of cyclical in wrestling too, because I'm just going to put it out there. My dad always used to talk about football players. He says it takes a special kid to want to come out in the summer and condition when his friends are out riding around the lake in a convertible with their girlfriends. I mean, it's a different kind of thing. There's a commitment level. to a sport like wrestling that means you got to have a special kid. And I think sometimes numbers are cyclical because you never know how many of those kids are in a class.
Yeah, and I actually said that to him yesterday at the end of practice. I sat down and I told them that. I said, look, of the 1,000 kids that Plymouth has in high school, you guys are the 15 that were willing to come out here and put it on the line and do the hard work. And, so, yeah, man, it's less than 1%, wrestling's a hard sport. And in order to be a good wrestler, you're going to have to put in a crazy amount of work. The hours that it takes to be just good, not even exceptional, just good. The hours that it takes is to some kids, it's just not worth it.
Right.
It's just too much. And so, to other kids, the thing that I always try to do as a coach is I try to promote, them to love the sport, to trust the process, enjoy the process, understand that the dream isn't always the goal at the end. The dream is the journey. And, even in my fighting career and everything that I've done, I had to learn how to love the journey leading up to the fight, leading up to the competition.
Yeah.
And so, they, like I said, I think they're all in a good place mentally where they're trying to enjoy the journey. They're trusting the process. They're listening to what I'm saying. Mental toughness is something that I really preach a lot. And so, they're doing a good job. And for the kids that are there, I'm proud of them.
That's something I think that you take away. I mean, obviously it's a team sport. You want to win as a team, but when you're out there, it's you and the light and that other guy. There is something to be said about the lesson they learn about life from that experience.
Yep. That's absolutely correct. Yeah. It's different when you're on a football field or when you're in a basketball field. And I'm not taking nothing away from those sports because I love football and basketball myself. But, you can't say my team did this or, this guy didn't do his part. Like at the end of the day, it's you and him. It's you and another guy. And if you go out there and you quit, you quit. If you go out there and you mess up technique, you messed it up. Like it's all on you. And that's hard. That's a hard thing for a lot of people to grasp and to be able to, be willing to go out there and put it on the line like that. That's just tough. And so, yeah, it's a different kind of feeling when you're competing in wrestling, for sure.
I just, in the back of my head, I just thought of this. Do you ever still get out there? I know Bob Reed used to get out and wrestle guys every now and then. And my son was like, how could he do that at his age? Do you ever get out there and just, mix it up with somebody once in a while?
So I actually lost 120 pounds in the last year. So yeah. So I've been on the mat every day wrestling I kind of, I got overweight and I started feeling like I was getting old and when I went through some things mentally that I had to overcome and decided that I was going to get myself back in shape. I had a shoulder surgery and it kind of messed everything, messed me up last year.
Yep.
And that's what really changed my outlook on everything. And so I started getting back in shape and now I jump on every day during live wrestling. I get out there and wrestle with everybody and have a good time. I've been mainly the last couple of weeks focusing on wrestling with the girls, making sure that they're, I give Angel and Caroline and Taya a lot of different looks to help them progress along. I got some rounds in with Chloe Carlton yesterday. She was struggling with some stuff, and so we worked on some stuff, and so yeah. And now, like I said, I'll be getting with the boys now that their season's getting ready to ramp up and take off. I and all my sons, obviously coach with me, and they all wrestle too. So yeah. We also have Mike Souders, who's the head coach at the middle school. He comes up into the high school room and helps out a lot. And so he's always over there wrestling with those boys too. So every single one of our coaches on the mat right now wrestle with our wrestlers and get out there and we definitely mix it up with them.
I think that makes a difference. I mean, you know, I think your family's a lot like with wrestling, like mine is with baseball, and the fact that, you know, I know Benji still gets out there and messes with the baseball kids, and my dad pitched batting practice till the day he retired. So, you know, I think it means something to the players when, you know, your coaches get out there and, you know, I used to joke that I'm every bit as good now as I was when I was a player, and I wasn't very good then either. So, you know, I think that means a lot that your coach gets out there and mixes in it with you.
Absolutely. And that was something that I had to come to terms with. I felt like, how can I look at these kids in the face and tell them, hey, you need to watch what you eat. You need to, you know, go on the runs. You need to work out. You need to get out here and wrestle. You know, you need to do all this stuff. And I'm not doing that. You know, I was dealing with a lot of injuries, but on the other side of it, I could have been doing better. And so I decided, you know, last year that, hey, I'm going to go out here and I'm going to lead by example. I'm going to show these guys, you know, I just competed a month ago. And so, I wanted to show these guys that I'm not willing, or I'm willing to do everything that I'm telling you to do. I'm willing to do it with you.
Yeah. I think that makes a huge difference.
Absolutely.
Well, man, thanks for taking the time. I appreciate it. And I'm sure I'm going to be bugging you from time to time again, if that's okay, to give us an update on how you guys are doing.
Yep. I appreciate it, Rusty.
That is Travis Smith, the wrestling coach at Plymouth. And we'll be right back.
There's a trend happening around the educational world. More and more high school graduates are attending smaller community colleges to start their educational journey. At Marian University's Ancilla College, we welcome students from all walks of life. The opportunities at Marian University are endless, from living on campus to being a collegiate student athlete. From day one, your professors will help you create a plan for a success at Marian and beyond. Find out more about Marian University's Ancilla College through our website at marian.edu/Ancilla today.
At Marshall County REMC, they are more than just your electric provider. They're your neighbors, your partners, and your connection to a brighter future. Since 1936, they have been powering homes, farms, and businesses with reliable service, innovative energy solutions, and a commitment to our community that never wavers. It's not just about keeping the lights on. It's about keeping our community strong. Marshall County REMC, powering progress, powering you. Learn more at marshallremc.com.
This segment, we're going to talk some boys basketball. I know it's a little bit away, but it's right around the corner. Greg Miller from Plymouth joins me, man. You've had a little chance to see your guys so far. I mean, you know, and you kind of knew. Let's start with the summer. How did that go? Were you happy with what you saw there?
Yeah, I mean, we saw a ton of growth this summer. As you know, some people will remember, you know, we lost a good senior class. I mean, we lost 6 guys that played minutes for us, and so we're pretty much a completely new team this year. You know, we don't have a ton of varsity experience, and so this summer, early on, like our first shootout, we took some beatings, and you know, we had to work through those, and then by the end of the summer, at the final shootout, we went 3-1, and so it was really good to see the progress. You know, I think, you know, playing JV and then coming up to varsity, the game's, it's bigger, it's faster, it's stronger. And so it took us a little bit of time to get used to that. I think we could see some of that early in the year as well, you know, still adjusting with young guys. But yeah, good summer, good turnout. And then, you know, we've had 4 practices so far. So, yeah, I mean, we've seen our guys, and we're excited to see some more growth.
You know, and we should point out, the seniors weren't just, you know, seniors. You had some pretty good players in that bunch that are no longer there.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, like I said, it's almost a completely new team this year, you know, and, you know, you talk about him, Caden Eller, he's, you know, playing at Wabash College right now, and you know, Preston Wolf shot it well. Trent Van Dyne was a really good scorer for us. Trey Delp guarded extremely well. Hayden Feldman was just solid off the bench for us. And then Caden Millizer was a bruiser inside. Like, I mean, we're losing a lot in that class. So yeah, I mean, it's going to be a year where we've got to continue to grow and develop and, you know, play our best basketball team of the year.
Let's talk about that too, because you brought it up earlier, and something that I've been around some sports a little bit over the years. There's a big jump between 8th grade and freshman. But I think the biggest jump is JV to varsity in speed, experience, strength. I mean, everything. It's a big jump for the one, but the second one is even bigger.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what you're going to see from our team this year is, guys that played predominantly, JV last year, excluding just a couple of them. And I mean, there's coming from college basketball. So there's not a huge difference between, an 18 and 19-year-old and a 22-year-old physically.
Right.
But there's a huge difference between a 15-year-old and an 18-year-old, and we're going to have some of those guys who are 15 out there playing against some senior heavy teams. And, I like our skill. I like our toughness and how hard we play. And, we just got to see those 15, 16-year-olds get a little more experience. And now I do say that, but we do have some seniors that are going to play, and they're going to play huge minutes for us. So we're going to have to, rely on those guys.
I say watching over the years, to me, basketball, it's even bigger. The difference between a senior and, say, a freshman or sophomore, or maybe even a junior for his first time. Because a senior, you pull that move on him, and he says, no, dude, I've seen that 100,000 times. I know how to counter that. And there's a level of experience that is just, it's invaluable to basketball.
Yeah, I mean, there's no substitute for it. My freshman year of high school when I was on the varsity, like I had a very, very limited role. And then, even by the time I was a sophomore, my game had evolved so much. And so for some of these guys, we're going to need, a couple sophomores, Caleb Ellery and Grayson Cherone, like we're going to need to see that game evolve, early on and often for us.
Let's talk about those guys a little bit too, because I got a chance to see your JV team play a lot. Your freshman team play. I mean, you've got some guys. It's not like it's empty. It's just a matter, I think, what you're telling me here is what I'm hearing is it's just a matter of getting them out there and getting them at game speed.
Yeah, absolutely. And, those two guys that we do talk about, they're two sophomores. They're going to play a lot for us, Caleb Ellery and Grayson Cherone. And by the end of the year, the JV season, they were both playing really well as freshmen last year. And there's some other guys in that sophomore class that you're going to see, Aiden Macias, Christian Kruzmaller, I mean, those guys that played a lot of JV minutes are going to get some varsity time this year. But, I do want to say that, we're going to roll those seniors out. And, Kalen Ellery, the older one, who really came on late in the year for us. And Parker Bagley is strong and physical and can shoot it. And Parker Wolf, Preston's younger brother, and he's strong and physical and plays the right way. And then obviously Dan Nguyen, who's, been a kind of a staple here for Plymouth basketball the last few years. So he'll be out there one more time.
And it's got to feel good to you to have those guys that have had that experience. They've been out there, and even more so, you got a couple of guys. I'm thinking Parker Wolf in particular. You got a couple of bruisers in there too. That you need those guys.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're not. And this, we're not a tall team. We're actually a rather small. We're probably the smallest team in the NLC this year. But we've talked about it defensively how we need to be fast, physical, and aggressive. And that's how we're going to have to play it this year. And, I hope that you see that in our first game, at John Glenn. And I hope that we go out and we are really physical and we are fast and we do what we're supposed to do. And if we do that, I have a positive discontent that I think that we can be very solid defensively.
Talk about where you're at right now. I mean, obviously you've had four practices so far, but I mean, you've had a chance to see your guys a little bit. Are you where you want to be? Are you ahead of the curve, behind the curve? I mean, where do you think you're at?
You know what? I think I would say defensively, I think we're ahead of the curve. We didn't change a ton up from, defense last year, and coming in, it's my second year now. So they understand the terminology, they understand the culture and the philosophy and all that stuff. So I think that we're ahead of the curve there. Like I'm very pleased with us defensively at the moment. Offensively, we've changed things up a lot. So, I'm going to give you the coach speak and say we're right on key right now. We're right where we need to be. But yeah, we're definitely not mid-season form offensively right now. Football won that game in sectional, and I played a really, really good second game. And So we didn't get to see those guys as soon as, if they would have lost that first one, which I'm glad they didn't. I'm glad they won. So we're catching those guys up to what we've been doing in the fall now.
And you mentioned it's going to be different offensively, but I mean, you've got a whole different skill set with these guys. I mean, it's a completely different group of kids.
Yeah, it is. And we're going to play to their strengths. And, I think that you'll see more off-ball movement, less dribbling this year. Me coming in and only having done college basketball before. And, high school's a completely different game. And so me adjusting after 1 year, I think that we'll be able to play to these guys' strengths. And like I said, change up what we do, be a little more patient this year. I don't think you'll see us scoring in the 60s as much. We're going to play probably a little bit slower than what Plymouth has seen in the last probably 5-6 years.
Talk about your schedule a little bit too, because I mean, you mentioned Glenn starting off, and that's traditionally the start.
Yep.
They took their lumps last year, but they're going to be better. They were like a bunch of sophomores. Bremen has one of the best players I've seen in a long time. Plays for them.
He's very good.
Triton is Triton. I mean, one of the best small
really
school
good
programs, and I mean, you don't have an easy start even out of conference.
No. I talked with my AD about that. I'm going to be honest with you. No, and you know what? Like, we'll play whoever's in front of us. And, non-conference wise, we play a team that is currently nationally ranked. South Bend St. Joe's, Max Preps is ranked number 24th in the country. We have a very, very tough schedule this year. Now, the NLC is always brutal. So we do have to prepare for that. One team that I think about last year, a game that I would love to have back was LaPorte. We were up 6 with like 4 minutes to go, and then the Tonagel kid hit back-to-back threes. And, we just couldn't finish it down the stretch. And LaPorte's going to be really good again this year. They got 2 college basketball players, and so we got to figure out how to guard those guys. But, yeah, it's a tough schedule, but you want to play good teams. You want to play the best, and that will prepare us for the NLC. And once again, a sectional that is really, really good.
I was going to say, I don't know how anything can prepare you for the NLC because night in, night out, it's basically a street fight. Literally, physically.
Yep.
They just throw the house at you.
Oh, absolutely. And, I think that there's games that you can look back at where, on paper last year, the teams were probably 20 points better than us. And, conference games, you can roll records, you just throw them out the window, because it's a conference game. It's going to be tight. It's going to be physical. It's going to be fun.
Well, man, I want to thank you for taking the time. We're going to have you opening night at Glenn, and then we'll have you Saturday again with Bremen. So I'll be bugging you again here before too much longer.
Yep, absolutely. I look forward to it.
It's Greg Miller, the head basketball coach at Plymouth, and we'll be right back.
MCF got its start in 2018 with one goal: bring fast, reliable fiber internet to Marshall County. Today, we offer lightning fast speeds, equal upload and download with no contracts and no install fees. Whether you're working from home or streaming all night, Marshall County Fiber keeps you connected. We might be the new kid on the block, but we're growing fast, just like our internet. Visit marshallfiber.com or call 574-223-2191. MCF, making rural connections possible.
Who doesn't like pizza, right? But have you tried the pizza at Bourbon Street Pizza lately? More fresh ingredients and a new pizza sauce recipe. It's like a slice of heaven each and every time you take a bite. And now there's 16 new style of pizzas for you to choose from on the menu. And let's not forget the mouth-watering wings or their 5 different pasta dishes to choose from. Bourbon Street Pizza with area locations in Plymouth, Culver, Argus, Walkerton, Napanee, and in Bourbon. If you're looking for a quick and delicious dinner for the entire family to enjoy, look no further than a Bourbon Street Pizza location near you.
And it's time for us to announce this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. We give that in honor of longtime Marshall County and Max 98.3 broadcaster Tony Ross, who died suddenly a year ago. And we try to honor the legacy he left behind of a dedication to his craft. His work ethic was unmatched. And even more unmatched, his dedication to the athletes and coaches in the area. And that's the legacy that we try to honor each week with this award. We'll tell you who that is this week right after this word from Johnson Danielson.
Johnson Danielson Funeral Home has been established in the community of Plymouth since 1879, and its staff is committed to providing care that goes beyond the expected in serving today's families who call Marshall County their home. They welcome families seeking options and alternative ways to pay tribute to someone, from burial packages to pre-planning to planning a checklist. The professionals, along with caring staff at Johnson Danielson, are available to assist your family 24 hours a day by simply calling 574-936-2829. Visit their website at johnsondanielson.com for a complete list of services. Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. Service beyond expectation.
And this week's winner is Chloe Horton, player on the Lady Pilgrim basketball team. Had 21 points, 5 rebounds the other night against Mishawaka Marion. And Chloe Horton will be the this week's Tony the Boss Ross Athlete of the Week. And she'll receive a certificate, history of the award, T-shirt commemorating that achievement, and will also be a future guest next week on the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Chloe will be eligible for our Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Year Award later in the spring. That carries a plaque and a college scholarship that's compliments of Max 98.3 and Johnson Danielson Funeral Home. That's the Tony the Boss Ross Max 98.3 Athlete of the Week is brought to you by Johnson Danielson Funeral Home in Plymouth. Well, that's going to do it for another edition of the Saturday Morning Coaches Show. Quick programming notes as we move out is this week, it's going to be girls basketball. We'll be at Plymouth on Tuesday night as Plymouth takes on Bremen in an inter-county rivalry, and another one on Thursday. We'll be at Plymouth again as Triton comes to town. So a couple of Marshall County rivalries coming up this week in girls basketball. We'll have those for you Tuesday night and Thursday night. And we start at, we're going to say 7 o'clock. It all depends on when the JV game gets over with. So we're going to shoot for 7 o'clock with a tip-off at 7:30. So join us then Tuesday and Thursday night. Plymouth versus Bremen Tuesday. Plymouth versus Triton on Thursday. It's going to do it. Thanks for listening. Have yourselves a great weekend.